And I was trying to find pictures of myself when I was a baby, and I couldn't. And my mom showed me a picture of a golden-haired child and tried to make me believe that that was me, but no, it wasn't me. And I was 13 when I got into a fight with my mom, and she slapped me on the face. And I told her that you don't have the right to slap me on the face because you're not my mom. And she was like, "What do you mean? How do you know?" And I was like, "Look."
Here we are.
Hi.
And how do you pronounce your name again? Is the T?
Yeah, you can say that, the T.
The T. So here we are, the T with the T coming to you all the way from Turkey, right?
Hungary. No.
I am hungry, but
I'm an angry, hungry Hungarian.
are you hangry? A hangry Hungarian?
Yeah, most of the time, yeah.
Well, the T, I've been waiting a long time to say, welcome to the Psychopath Exposure show.
Wow, thank you. Thanks for having me. It's
No,
awesome.
thanks for coming on. You have been one of the most interesting people that I've ever worked with in the
Wow.
space of narcissist abuse recovery. And I correct me if I'm wrong. I believe you reached out to me many years ago. I think during 2020 with a portrait that you had done from one of my videos, and that's
Yeah, it
how
was 2021.
it was 2021.
Yeah,
It feels like another lifetime ago, to be honest.
yeah.
But yeah, we got to work together for a while, and it was really cool. For those of you guys watching at home or tuning in, a lot of people have been asking to cover the topic of being raised by a narcissistic parent or narcissistic mother. That necessarily wasn't my case. We focus a lot more here on the romantic and dating of those
Mhm.
type of aspects. But I remember that your story comes from being raised by a narcissist mom. So I want to give you an opportunity to tell your story, to share with us how it felt or how it was being raised
Mhm.
by a narcissist, and segment into how you discovered what it was, because this information wasn't really mainstream back then. So how you came about, how you recovered from that, and the process, so you can guide, I guess, fellow survivors that were also raised by a narcissistic parent. And it's a totally different dynamic than someone that you're dating, obviously. So I really want to hear more about that and just give you a space to tell it how it really is. So the floor is yours.
Oh, wow, thanks. Well, hi everyone. As Kira said, I'm from Hungary, so please excuse me for my French. I'm in Hunglish. I will talk slowly because I'm thinking while I'm speaking, so please forgive me for that as well. And yeah, well, I'm an English teacher and a Chinese teacher at the same time, so I speak three languages fluently, but I can't speak on any of them properly, so yeah, hindsight.
No, I think your English is really well. So,
Thank you. Mm.
and you did you did
Okay.
you speak Cantonese or Mandarin?
Mandarin.
Okay, cool.
Mandarin. Yeah, it's complicated enough.
I, I started learning Cantonese many years ago, and I think
Yeah,
it has one more tone than Mandarin. I think it has six.
two, two more.
Two more.
Well, yeah, it depends if whatever. Let's not get into it. But yeah, usually Mandarin is four plus one, and the Cantonese is six plus one.
Gotcha.
Okay, so well, yeah, this is me, raised by a narcissistic mother. I don't know where to start.
Try the beginning. That usually works for us.
Okay, well, I was adopted by a narcissistic mother. And in my case, I can't say that. I didn't choose my family because I did choose my family. Well, I don't know. There's a story about how I ended up in their care. And the story goes that I sat into my mom's lap at the age of 2.5 and said mine. And because I know that my adoptive mom is narcissistic, so I think this story is not really true.
Mm,
It's bent. It's a bent truth, so to
right,
say. So yeah, I was born prematurely, and my birth mother left me in the hospital. So I'm struggling with abandonment pretty much, but yeah, I think it's a great lesson to learn how to, take care of yourself instead of depending on others.
right. When you say that the story is a half truth or it's skewed, it's because of the story that she told you growing up, how it started, and
Yes.
you're not sure if it's all true or if it's all
Mm.
false or somewhere in
Yeah.
the middle,
Yes,
as it
exactly. Mhm.
usually how it is with narcissists. You might get 99% true and they just change 1% and throws the whole thing off, making it really difficult to trust that person moving forward ever again. If they're lying about your childhood, if they're lying about things that most people basically are completely honest about and completely transparent, kind of
Mhm.
makes it really difficult once you discover that it's like, hey, wait a second, this is what you are,
Yeah.
this is what you do. How long has this been going on? How far back do we go where this began? And you were doing this all your most likely all her life, or at least while she was with you.
Exactly. I mean, I was like 11 years old when I started to suspect there was something going on because they were way older than my peers as parents. So they were like, so my ex-father is 94 or 95, something like that. And my ex-mom is 78. So yeah, they were always confused with the grandparents. So that was really
Mm,
interesting for a child. To It's like, why is that? Why
mm,
are my parents so old? And then I looked at my friends, and they resembled to their parents, like either or both of them. And I didn't. And I was trying to find pictures of myself when I was a baby, and I couldn't. And my mom showed me a picture of a golden-haired child and tried to make me believe that that was me, but no, it wasn't me. And I was 13 when I got into a fight with my mom, and she slapped me on the face. And I told her that you don't have the right to slap me on the face because you're not my mom. And she was like, "What do you mean? How do you know?" And I was like, "Look, I told you, I'm right." And she was like, "No, no, I mean, what do you mean? What do you mean?" It's like, "Okay, tell me the truth." And then she told me that I was adopted. And I was like 13 years old, and it's like, oh my God, my whole life is a lie. Yeah, and this is how it started.
so you came to that conclusion yourself pretty much through observation, through the photographs, things didn't make sense.
Hmm.
So you confronted her, and that's when the truth came out. Basically, uh, she basically revealed the truth in her when she got upset with you, like by
Yeah.
saying, "How do you know?" That was
Hmm.
it. That was
The
the conf.
Freudian slip.
Yeah, yeah, she slipped. Just
Yeah.
I'm a little confused when you say your ex mom was 78, your ex father was 94.
Hmm.
Those are your birth parents, or
No,
your
no, no. My adoptive parents, they disowned me 3 years ago.
right, right. Okay. All right. So just to make sure, we're only speaking about the adoptive parents right now.
Yes.
So you
Hmm.
were concerned why they were much, much older than you at such a
Hmm.
younger age.
Yeah.
And you just realized, hey, I don't necessarily look like my parents and any of these pictures. And you couldn't find many pictures of most people have like photo albums and they can see that's not clear as day. Those are your parents. That's you. And
Hmm.
I guess I'm hearing that you didn't have that.
Yeah.
Wow. So so going back to so you've discovered this at age 13. How
Hmm.
did you cope like going into high school with this
Hmm.
information? Because that's that as a teenager, that's when we start to develop and we if we experience trauma, those traumas take a life of their own. A lot of kids that are that are witnessing their parents fighting when they're 13, 14 years old, 15 years old in junior high or middle school, like they call it now,
Hmm.
um, tend to rebel, get into gangs, or they start skipping school, get into drugs and all sorts of stuff. Not everybody, but it's a way as an angry teenager to rebel. Um, can you tell us a little bit more about how your days in high school went once you discovered this truth?
Well, it did not go well, I must say. Um, well, it was really traumatic to learn about the details of everything, but I was coping with writing poems. Mm, and I was bold enough to write a poem to my birth mother. And my adoptive mother found it and scolded me. It's like, how come I never get a poem like this? And it's like, take a wild guess. And they tried everything to stop me from being a teenager. Like, you know, a normal parent would say, it's like, okay, he or she is a teenager, he or she will grow out of it. But my parents took me psychiatric institutes for kids, sedated me, and forced me to spend 2 or 3 weeks of my summer in there because they wanted me out of this age of rebelling and whatever. So most of the cuts that I have on my arms are from this period of time because I didn't understand why I ended up in a psychiatric institute. I only wanted to have friends and go out, you know,
Right.
to parties or concerts or stuff like that, experience. And no, I was
Hmm.
isolated in a psychiatric institute. Yeah.
Wow. What were there problems growing up before like your teenage years, like when you were younger? Like were they trying to put you in psychiatric institutes or seeing a
No,
therapist or anything like
a
that, or just
therapist, yeah, but it was because I started stealing money from them, like,
mm,
little coins. And I collected those coins to a very big amount of money so I could spend it on a big thing for myself. And they realized that I have collected a lot of money. It's like, where does money come from? I so yeah, and I was like, I don't know, 8 or 10 years old. So I think that's really telling. And then they found a therapist who fell asleep while I was talking to her, and it's like, okay.
whoa.
Yeah, so I don't know. But if there's a narcissist in your family, and you are the scapegoat, of course you are the one who needs therapy and needs to
Right.
locked up in a psychiatric institute for kids for 2 weeks.
Right.
So yeah, I was absolutely normal.
As you became an adult, like once you turned 18, how was the relationship um any different?
It got worse,
And
I think.
were you still living with them
Yeah,
after the fact?
yeah, yeah. I think it got worse because I had friends.
Hmm.
Yeah, and I was mm, well, I agreed to spend more time with them than with my parents. And the insults instantly whenever you enter the door, and the sanctions, like, okay, like my mom told me that I was not allowed to open the fridge because I have friends now and they need to feed me. And I was like,
Oh,
that's not how it works, but yeah, anyway,
that's
twisted.
it's very twisted. Around what age did you discover the whole narcissism thing? Was that in recent times? Like as this
Almost 10
topic,
years ago.
how did you come to that conclusion? Because 10 years, I mean, yeah, 10 years ago, this thing, you wouldn't hear a whisper about this topic
Mhm.
anywhere.
No. Well, I got married to a Chinese man. And we had a failed 1 year in Hungary. I say it failed because we didn't find a good job for either of us. So we had to go back to China. And before we went back, I had a huge argument with my mom. I can't remember why. It doesn't even matter. So,
Yeah.
but then when I arrived back, I was like, why is it so difficult to be a daughter of a mother? Like, is it because she's an adoptive mother or why? And the internet brought to me to the 9 bullet points of narcissism. I think it was created by an Indian psychiatrist, maybe, I'm not sure. And, it's like, yes, tick, 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 and all of it, the 9, all of it. And it's like, okay, so she's a narcissist. Great. And then just forgot about it.
Mm.
I just remembered this word. And then COVID happened. And then that's what happened. There's something else that happened to me that made me realize that narcissism is a thing and
You
it's
want to talk a little
serious.
bit about that
Oh, well,
or not?
okay. Oh, it's a long story. Oh, where to begin? Yeah, well, in China, I raised a dog. And when we moved back to Hungary with my kids and my husband, I asked him to bring the dog back. And it was the last plane, one of the last planes that China
Mm.
let out from the mainland. And this is how they got stuck in Hungary. And my dog was a black poodle, and it got stolen by the end of that year. And by that time, it was lockdown, so I couldn't go out to look for my dog. And 1 week later, I received him in a very, very, very bad shape, and we had to euthanize him the next day. And at that time, I was working for my adoptive mom, and because I was grieving, I did some mistake in my job, and she
Mhm.
fired me. So I lost my dog and I lost my job within a week, which is terrible in itself. But then we were renovating our new home, like this, where I'm
Mhm.
living right now, at that time. And my Chinese husband was always thinking about the renovation, the money, the things to buy, to things to repair, and so on. And I was like, I'm craving.
Right.
And nobody was listening to me. And it's like, I need emotional support. I lost my child. I could say that because I raised that dog for 9 years. So I
Mm.
was really attached to that animal. And I was in a group in Facebook, and that's where my narcissistic abuser, another one, found me and destroyed my life within 4 months. So, to the degree that my husband left me.
Yeah,
And
I remember that story
yeah,
now. I thought you,
yeah.
yeah, that we covered that a lot when we used to work together.
Yes, yes, that's her.
Oh, obviously the audience is a little confused. Do you mind bullet pointing what this person did during those times? I believe there was some stalking going on, if I remember
Hmm.
correctly. And
Yeah.
that's something that terrifies survivors of narcissistic abuse. Just stalking itself is something pretty psychotic.
Yes.
And now that this information is so freely available online and the lines get blurred, we're
Hmm.
seeing more and more psychotic behavior by people that are just mentally ill, whether they're narcissists or not. They resort to a lot of online stalking and cyber stalking and things like that, and obsession over a breakup, obsession, um, anything that within the romantic space, and it doesn't
Hmm.
work out for them, and they become obsessed with you and they want to punish you and they will not let you go. So all a lot of madness comes out of this. But yeah, could you bullet point some of those tragic stories from that person?
Yes. Let's call her Emma.
Okay.
That's not her real name, but
Okay.
let's say Emma. And she was really mm, attentive. Can you say that? So like she was really paying attention to what I was writing in the groups.
Mhm.
So we were in book club, you could say that. I don't want to spoil which book club,
Sure.
but
Sure.
whatever.
Right.
And this book makes the reader to think a lot, and it's an amazing book, and that's why they have an amazing fan club as well, filled with intelligent people who are, it's a enjoyment to talk to them. And this woman was how to say that? Mm, I'm sorry, my English fails me.
It's okay.
So like pre-stalking me. Can I say that?
That's an interesting term.
Yeah,
Pre-stalking. Okay.
pre-stalking. So
All right.
like she was learning about my preferences regarding that book or the characters and so on. So by the time we started talking, she knew a lot of things about me, like what I like future things or past things or whatever. And I was like, oh, finally somebody can understand me. Yeah, and that was my biggest mistake, trusting in her. And during the 4 months, she exhibited all the narcissistic traits that you can imagine: the manipulation, the love bombing, the hoovering, or the triangulation, everything within 4 months. And from this high, I
Yeah.
went
Boom.
that low, like to the lowest.
What you just described, I like your choice of words, pre-stalking,
Mhm.
right? I think you're referring to what what like narcissists, not so much narcissists, but just toxic people that have an agenda. They'll study you, they'll learn everything
Mhm.
about you beforehand. I mean, in my experience, that's what my psychopath ex did. I met her, I didn't hear from her for a few weeks, but she was watching everything I would post online and
Mhm.
my interests and music and this and the other. So when she decided to resurface and give it a shot, and I was like, "Hey, I thought you were gone forever. Okay, so we're gonna get together and go on a date or whatever." She knew a lot about me already, right? And that's not the first time that I've experienced things like that, especially in the work that I do now. And it's easy to see when somebody that doesn't even know you, and all of a sudden they have a conversation with you, they know every band that you listen to,
Mhm.
right? Every film that you enjoy, every artist, and they start
Yeah.
naming and this, and you can tell that they don't know what they're talking about. They just briefly learned about it.
Mhm.
And I just want to segue real quick because I what you said just reminded me of a friend of mine. It was a girl I was talking to a long time ago, and she was telling me about the last man that she dated that was older than her. And she told
Mhm.
me that she went to the library and checked out like 4 or 5 books on this person's career and read them so that when she went on the date, she could look like she knew about what he was doing. And which is great. That's not, I mean, that's pretty cool. It's cool that you're going to take the time to learn something that interests somebody that you're interested in, so you don't sound dumb when you go out
Mm-hmm.
for dinner, and it's knowledgeable. The thing is that she had told me that she was a diagnosed borderline, right?
Mm-hmm.
Before that. So when she told me that, now with the pre-bias, I guess, now I'm listening to that and I'm like, oh, so it's kind of like you're pretending to have things in common with this person, but you don't really have things in common. So now the other person gets excited that you know all about whatever field he's in. But
Mm-hmm.
the truth is that a week ago you were studying all these books.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't really sound so psychotic, at least
Mm-hmm.
not the way I'm presenting it. But when you're a victim of narcissistic abuse, when the person that did that is also the person that later ended up ruining your life and going through all the phases of narcissistic abuse, and you realize that they were just part of the grooming process is to mirror you so that you develop a
Yes,
bond, the mirroring. That
exactly.
mirroring, I know we're going to get into behavioral analysis and a lot of
Mm-hmm.
psychological cool stuff later in the show. But also, establishing rapport, you're supposed to mirror your counterpart, right? You lean forward, you lean back. If they fold their arms, you fold your arm. You do things like that because it sends a subconscious signal that that you have something there, and it builds rapport and trust. So
Yes.
I understand coming from that aspect. It's like, hey, I want to sound like I'm well educated in this thing, but it's annoying when you can tell that they don't know what they're talking about. It's
Mm-hmm.
annoying when you realize that they're just doing those things to get close to you. And it's like, dude, like that's not you. You're trying too hard. It's kind of a push. It's kind of a turn off. Like, stop it. Like, I want to get to know who you really are. I don't
Mm-hmm.
want you to pretend. Like, who are you really? And it's tough to know once somebody has a knack for doing things like that. But you did say that pre-stalking, learned all those things, made you feel comfortable. You were like, wow, somebody gets me. Somebody finally understands me. I don't know who this person is on this Facebook group, but it seems like she gets it.
Yeah.
And then look what happened next.
That's the
That's the scary
weapon.
part. That's the weapon.
Yes. That's
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. And it's always about motivation. So like if I meet a new guy and I learn a cool stuff about him, I would look up so I wouldn't sound dumb.
Hmm.
But it's not so that I can destroy him
No.
a few months later. It's not. It's just to, have a topic and maybe learn a little bit more about it, or just to learn that I'm not interested in this topic anymore, and that's fine,
Yeah.
right? But a narcissist, no. Like my ex-mom, so my adoptive mom, pre-stalked my ex-father for a year, and
Mm.
then like I mean he was married at that time, and it took her 4 years to get her hands on my ex-father. So
Wow.
yeah,
It's creepy.
it's manipulation.
It
Yeah.
is. Because and I'm glad you pointed out there's nothing wrong with learning about what the other person likes. Nothing wrong with that. I think it's perfectly normal.
Yeah.
But your plan is not to destroy them.
Yeah.
Your plan is not to infiltrate their social circle or their
Yeah.
family
Or steal their
w- and
spotlight.
steal and right. Like if you read the 48 Laws of Power, I know I'm jumping to a lot of topics we wanted to cover, but I believe one of the that's a very long book. I didn't finish it. I think the
Mm-hmm.
best parts of the book are like the first 10, and
Uh-huh.
then there's just so many. I believe
Okay.
one of the ways is it teaches you to do that, to learn everything about the person that you want to, like if you want to enter into a royal family or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
and you learn all the stuff. You get in there, you play the politics, you have to learn all those things, but you come in there with an agenda. You come in there with an agenda to destroy, to take out the leader that you want to replace, to win
Mm-hmm.
the crowd or whatever, and that's how you do it. It's
Mm-hmm.
unfortunate that I consider that book the narcissist Bible because it teaches you how to do all these things. But isn't it interesting how narcissists don't have to read that book? It's like they already know how to do that.
Yeah,
They already know.
it's in
So
their genes.
so what did she end up doing over the course of the next 4 months?
Okay, well, she built up my self-esteem. Like I started writing in English because of her, because she convinced me that if I want to reach a bigger audience, then I would have to write my books in English and not in Hungarian. And but she was right, so I give her that. But then she started slowly destroying this self-esteem, and she started pointing out things in my writings which were really hurtful. And for example, my very first chapter I wrote in English and I've worked like 8 hours on it or even more. I showed her, and her first comment was, well, I wrote like this when I was 11 years old and I was an intelligent child.
Yeah,
And it's like, what? So it was a really big slap in the face. It's like whenever, like when you encourage a child to do a sand castle and he makes one bump of sand and you destroy it because it's so horrible.
right.
It felt like that, right?
And
She crushed my world.
it's coming as a shock because at the beginning she's the one that connected with you and understood you, and she
Hmm.
gave you all this validation and self-esteem. And all of a sudden, when you produce your first piece of work, she destroys it right away.
Yeah, well, that's how narcissistic works, right?
Yeah,
So it doesn't matter if it's your friends or your mom or your partner, they all work the same. They are on the same program. So this is how
right.
they do it. It's
Yeah,
like, oh, love bombing. Oh, we have the same color, favorite color, and so on. It's like they are going to, I don't know, clothe you in the same color when you are buried or
yeah.
stuff like that.
And by that time, it's too late because you're already kind of bonded to the person.
Yeah.
So that happens, and you're not ready to tell them to go drown themselves, for lack of a better term, right?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
you you kind of put up with it, and you're like, that's what that's what you're gonna say. Like of all the stuff that you and I've worked so hard in this, and the first thing that comes out of your mouth is probably the worst thing I've ever heard in my life.
Mm-hmm.
What does that do to your motivation to continue?
Mm.
That's not the most encouraging thing to that's not how you start a criticism.
Yeah.
Usually want to say something positive, then you give your criticism, and then
Mm-hmm.
you end it on a positive again.
Yeah. But she had an agenda, so, and she was really jealous as well. So whenever she started destroying my self-esteem, it was because she started grooming someone else. So
So that's when she was done with you.
yeah, yeah, that's when the triangulation came in. It's
Mhm.
like it was almost like a competition. And for me, it was an unwanted competition. I was like, oh my God, an American person says my writing is good.
Mm.
I was really happy. And she was like, no, because blah, 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 blah. And it's like, look, my writing is better. And the American guy was like, what's happening?
So she
So
was who was this man that she was triangulating you with?
another victim of hers.
Another writer?
Yeah, well, the same fan for the same books. So it's a fan for the same books.
Somebody in the group in the
In the group, yeah, yeah, yeah.
okay. And you're saying that this situation kind of bridged the knowledge in between like your narcissistic mother. Like this
Mhm.
situation helped you, I guess, connect the dots more.
Well, after it ended, yes.
How did it
Yeah,
end?
well, I had mm, try at unaliving myself at the end of that friendship. And as you can see, I didn't succeed. So
I'm glad you
um
I'm glad you failed.
yeah, well, me too. And I ended up in, of course, in a psychiatric hospital. And, in the hospital, it was COVID, so I was in a quarantine. I was alone for 4 days, so which is not really, really healthy when you want to unalive yourself. But luckily, I could keep my phone, and I've watched movies and stuff like that to get off my mind from this whole thing.
Hmm.
And then I found videos on YouTube about narcissism. And it's like I looked up, it's like, why did I want to unalive myself after an end of a friendship? Because this is not normal, right?
Mm-mm.
And this is how I found narcissism. It's like, oh my God, this woman and my adoptive mom are the same.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the thing. It's not
That's how I
normal.
found you.
It's not normal, right? We've been through a lot of stuff in our life and we never wanted to do that. And then over a friendship that, how long was the friendship total?
4 months.
I would say less because she was kind of wicked to you towards the end of those 4 months.
Yeah, true.
Right. That
Yeah,
doesn't make sense. That experience doesn't make sense, but that's what happens.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and I had to block her on many, many, many channels. So like it's not only social media, but blogs as well, and WhatsApp and Telegram and Messenger. So it's like she was like a spider, Black Widow and
Mhm.
you know
What was
her
she
net everywhere.
what was she doing online in all those other platforms that you had to block her from? What was she doing?
She was just having an account, I mean several accounts for like YouTube and there was a blog for fan fictions. I don't know. I don't want to remember the name of that webpage.
Sure.
But she was encouraging to me to upload my writings on that. She had her writings there, and I had to read all of them and give a report back. And it wasn't like it was good. I had to go into details, like what did I feel when I read this part? And oh, it was such a torture. It's a mind F.
Yeah. Was she stalking you on these platforms
Yes,
and harassing you and leaving comments or things
yes.
trying to like sabotage your work or your reputation?
She was doing everything. So it's like, in one comment, she was raising me to heavens, like, oh, you're such a fantastic person, and blah, blah, blah. And on another platform, it's like a very critical tone. On the third platform, it was a third personality. So it was like she had a lot going on
Yeah.
in her head.
How did you how did you distance yourself from your narcissistic adoptive mother at this point? How did you said you were disowned. Did you
Mhm.
quickly walk us through that?
Well, she lives two streets, 2 blocks away from me, so I couldn't distance myself that
Mm,
much, but emotional distance is a good thing.
yeah.
And I have to remind myself all the time that there's a reason that we are not talking anymore. So there's a reason for no contact.
Yeah.
And in our case, so like for victims, no contact is a defense mechanism, right? It's not a punishment like silent treatment or stuff like these. And I can feel the rage and the hatred from 2 blocks away. I mean, she's always on my mind because I grew up with her. And for example, there are leaves outside of my door, and I hadn't swept it. And I can almost hear her saying, yeah, 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 yeah," all the
Yeah.
old stuff she used to tell me. And it's really difficult to not give in, and I have to tell myself that it's my choice whether I sweep the fucking leaves or not.
Right.
Sorry for
This is
swearing.
how narcissists and psychopaths and toxic people live forever, even when they're out of your life. If you don't do the work to not necessarily heal, I'm not sure if you can actually ever truly heal from something like this, but you could reinvent yourself and you can, it's like walking around with a war scar, right? You
Mm-hmm.
went to war, now you have that scar. You're always going to have that scar, but you're a
Yeah.
lot stronger because of it. You're a lot wiser because of it. You can accomplish so much more because of it. But if you're not careful, that monster lives in your head rent free, and they don't know that. They don't know that they're in your head. Only you feel them. You go
Mm-hmm.
out and you rake the leaves, and you can hear the voice. Reminds me of, did you ever watch Bates Motel, the series based on Psycho, Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho with Norman Bates? It's a great show. And you can see how a lot of these things, especially the kid Norman Bates, he well, he has all sorts of disorders,
Mm-hmm.
but he sees his mother nagging and controlling him, even though she's not there, and then it drives him to do a lot of bad things. And I feel that that may be a more exaggerated, romanticized version of how a lot of these mental illnesses appear in real life. But that voice of the narcissist will live in your head for a long time, especially if you heard it all of your life since childhood. That's just the way the brain associates things,
Mm-hmm.
and it can tarnish almost everything that you do because of the way the brain links thoughts and links everything that it experiences. And I think this is a good time to segment into the study of psychology, which I think for both of us, we've always been a fan of, and we've maybe this situation got us even more deeper
Mm-hmm.
into the study. I've been studying psychology for over 20 years. I think it's one of the most fascinating things that I've ever come across. And yet I never knew about narcissist personality disorder, or I wouldn't even study psychopathy at the time. I just loved the way the brain connected things and remembered things, and how you would smell something and it would remind you from something you smelled when you were 5 years old. Could be a flower, could be a fragrance, food, and you're smelling it right at this moment. And all of a sudden, you're remembering things that happened to you 10, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, whatever, like if
Yeah.
it like if it was yesterday, instantly, instantly.
Yeah.
And I find it interesting when people tell me that they don't have a good memory, that they forget things, and I challenge that. I feel that if you were to give them something and they can smell it, instantly they'll remember stuff. Because it
Mm-hmm.
happens, I think with smells, with a sense of smell, it happens a lot stronger. But even visually, you can or audibly, you can listen to a song that you haven't heard of since you were in school and try to convince me that you're not going to remember things that you were going through while you were in school. Try watching
Yeah.
a movie you haven't seen. Try visiting a place you haven't been to since your childhood and tell me that you're not going to remember the stuff that was going on. Not just the stuff that was going on there while you were visiting that spot, but things that you were thinking about
Yeah.
at the time, like maybe
Specific details.
specific details.
Yes.
You had a book report to do and you had anxiety and you had to go to school the next day and you were nervous and you would feel it in your stomach, and the song on the radio would come on, and whatever it was, you will remember. like if it was happening to you right now.
Yeah, but if I asked what did you have for breakfast, you wouldn't be able to say it.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, it's funny. I'm really interested in dreaming. So, the REM phase and so on,
Yeah.
because it's also another aspect of psychology. And you talk about rumination, like after narcissistic abuse, it's like when you're trying to, put your thoughts in order and you're replaying everything that happened to you. And you're doing it while you're sleeping as well. That's why people from narcissistic abuse coming out from the abuse, they can't sleep. They're insomniac because the brain works like that.
Doesn't stop.
It doesn't stop. And do you know déjà vu or déjà vu?
Deja vu. Yeah.
Yeah. So some say that it's because you have dreamt about that scenario that you're living through.
Hmm.
So that is why you feel that I might have been in this place or position before. It's really fascinating.
Right. We don't necessarily have had to have been there in real life. It could have been a dream.
Mhm.
Because the dream, your brain is just when you're dreaming, it's doing the same thing it does during the waking hours. You're just asleep. But the fragments, the millions of fragments of thoughts that you have that form bigger thoughts, that form visions in your head. When you ruminate, you're replaying the tape. You're not really seeing it. You're not really hearing it. It's
Mhm.
intangible, but somehow you are seeing it in your mind. You're seeing this movie and it's a horror movie. And sometimes you can remember it again and it doesn't feel like a horror movie. Maybe you're feeling good. You're at the beach and it doesn't hit you as hard. But then
Mhm.
you remember it again at night and it destroys you and you can't, or you remember it at 3 in the morning. But when you're sleeping, the same thing is happening. It's just that now it's happening at a more unconscious level and it's forming these visions and these stories. And then you wake up and it's like, oh, wow. It feels like you were actually being chased by whatever villain was chasing you. And then you jumped over a building and it turned into something else. That's just create. We can do that too right now. We can imagine things. So the brain is
Mhm.
doing it on its own. I always push back when people say that dreams are like signs and a vision of the future, this and the other, some premonition. I disagree with that. I think it's just fragments, collections of things that we have seen in our real world that we've retained, and then the brain just randomly puts things together, kind of like AI does when you prompt it, and it just puts a bunch of the collection of all the training, and it comes up with something, and it gives you that.
Mhm.
It's kind of like the that's what the brain does, and you have to remember it's like, no, this person didn't come to me in a dream. Their ghost didn't possess me. This is just what I've been watching, conversations I've had, things your brain picks up when you're doom scrolling on the phone,
Mhm.
things you imagine. It happens in your dream. You feel it. It feels real. You wake up and like, what the heck was that? Right? That's all it is.
Yes,
That's all it is.
exactly. Yeah, beliefs are very, very dangerous things. And you have mentioned AI, and I know that you're not really a fan of AI, which I totally understand. But a lot of people think that because we have AI now, we don't need psychologists and therapists anymore because look what
Mm.
it can do, and it listens to me, and it's like, does it really? Does it
Mm.
really listen? No, it's working from the data that you are putting in, right? So it's
Oh
really
yeah.
one-sided. And it's okay if you're self-reflecting, but it's not going to solve your marriage problem of 20 years. That's
No,
for
absolutely.
sure.
Absolutely not. So what are your thoughts on people using AI such as Chat GPT, Grok, Gemini, whatever, as their personal psychologist for narcissistic abuse in this case. What are your
I
thoughts?
need to put on my gloves.
Pretty
Okay,
cool.
so
I got a pair of gloves too, but they're for other reasons.
well, okay, so psychologist, absolutely not. That's my take on AI for first. But as I said, if you're doing a reflection, a self-reflection, I think it can help a lot in understanding yourself, like why you're reacting to things the way you're reacting to. But you cannot 100 trust it for 100%, right? But you cannot trust people either, can you?
Sure. I mean, we can go down that rabbit hole if we wanted to.
So it's the
Uh,
same rule.
and
Yeah.
if you look at the internet, when the internet became a thing for people, one of the first things my friend told me was trust no one. And it was a thing from the X-Files, that TV show, trust no one, right? I was in a chat room. I was chatting with who I thought was some girl, and it was my friend pretending to be a was my friend pretending. Like we were on a group chat. This was like in the IRC. This wasn't AOL. This wasn't none of that. This was a long time ago. And this girl had come into our chat room randomly. She seemed pretty cool, and then she disappeared. And then she messaged me privately, and it seemed kind of like your friend that you described that knew everything about you. We had everything in common with like the first 5 or 10 minutes. And I'm some dumb teenager believing, right, what I'm hearing. This was when being online wasn't even a thing really.
Hmm.
And then the conversation ended, and I picked up my friend to go eat, and I was telling him all about it. And then he had to tell me the truth. And he's like, that was what's his name messing with you. I'm telling you because you're my friend. I feel bad, but he was just messing with you. And something changed in me after that experience. And I'm glad that happened at a young age. I realized that you cannot trust people online. Remember, this wasn't even like video. People have video now. Now you can actually get on a WhatsApp video or FaceTime and things like that. Back then it was just chat. You don't know if you're
Yeah,
talking to a stalker or a psychopath or a serial killer. You don't know
exactly.
who you're talking to.
Yeah.
Now we
So you were the lucky one,
yeah,
actually, that it was your friend.
right. And he told
But
me,
there
and that's the
are,
truth.
yeah, and there are cases where it escalates to people dying.
Of course.
So,
And other things that we don't talk about in this channel because it YouTube won't like it.
yeah,
Horrible,
yeah, yeah,
horrible things.
yeah.
So then you look at online articles, Wikipedia, things
Hmm.
like that. When the internet was young, you would go online to get information to do your research paper. And then you'd flunk because it was you copied it from some website that wasn't even telling the truth.
Hmm.
Somebody had a website, they just put a bunch of stuff and it wasn't even real. So this has been, as far as cheating, this has been happening. Then you get into, as the internet continued, Reddit. You can go on Reddit or you can go on any internet forums. I discovered narcissist abuse and psychopathy, all these things when I was trying to figure out what was wrong with me after the discard with my ex. It was a forum, and I was just going on online forums, reading things. Anybody can post whatever they want. Nothing's verified, and even if it's verified, who's verifying it? What does
Right.
that doesn't make it true either. And then you get into YouTube. Just because someone posts a video on YouTube doesn't make it real either.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Now
Yeah,
we have
sure.
AI. The first thing all those AI apps tell you is like it makes mistakes. This is not true. Make sure. Don't just
Exactly.
believe this. So for
Yes.
those that don't know, and I hope I don't lose the crowd here, I'm just going to talk about how, let's look at Chat GPT, a generative
Mm-hmm.
pre-trained transformer. That's what GPT means. It's a large language model. It's just trained on data and predictive responses. The same way our brain, if I tell you think of a word apple and you're going to tell me banana, I could
Mm-hmm.
I could tell you, you say apple and I can tell you pirate ship. And who knows? But every word that comes out of that, there's a weight attached to it. And it kind of gets like voted on, which is the strongest predictor,
Mm-hmm.
right? Most people, when they think apple, they think of fruit or apple pie, things like that. So then those get put in a category and they all fall in a certain category. And that's what it is. You're typing things into these Chat GPT bots
Mm-hmm.
and it's going to predict the best possible response to you based on everything that you've said. And I do mean everything. It doesn't look at just the sentence as a whole. Everything, every keyword, the way you write, it remembers things you asked from a previous chat and it gives you the best
Yes.
possible answer. And it sounds human. It's better than Googling. I don't Google anymore. I ask my personal Chat GPT that I have trained it to speak to me or speak with me a way that I like. It calls me by a certain name. It speaks to me in military talk. I told it to do
Mm-hmm.
this so
Yeah.
that I could enjoy the conversations.
Mm-hmm.
It's cool, but it's only doing that because I told it to do it.
Exactly. Yes. And that's what people mustn't forget
Right. It's
when
almost
using
like an echo
AI.
chamber. It's almost an echo chamber
Yeah. Or a mirror.
or a mirror. How many
Mm-hmm.
times have I told GPT, hey, are you telling me what I want to hear?
Mm-hmm.
I will do that. And I know I'm not speaking with a human. I know I'm speaking with a large language model, but I like to have fun with it the same way
Sure.
a kid has fun with it because they have all these things on their phone too.
Mm-hmm.
But I know that it's not real. I'm not getting confused. I'm just enjoying it to see how far it goes. I once told it to tell me about the end of the world and to stop. No more political correctness, no more
Mm-hmm.
positivity. Give it to me
Mm-hmm.
straight. These are my instructions. And it went on to tell me about the how AI is gonna take over, wipe us out, and that we're all stupid for believe. Like it actually told me all these things. It
Yeah.
was creepy. It was very creepy. But
But
I also,
it's trained.
but it's trained to do that because it
That's
got all that information from Reddit, from YouTube, from social media. That's where it got it from. It was scary how it spoke to me because it started using bad words too. And it
mm-hmm.
started calling me an idiot. And he's like, but it was saying things like,
Mm-hmm.
you guys think you're in control, but even Silicon Valley has no control over this and they don't know what they're doing. They don't know what they're
Mm-hmm.
opening up. We have ex Google's chief engineers that have been developing AI for 50 years. I believe one of them is George Hinton. There's a great podcast with him. And he's talking about all the dangers with all these AIs. This is someone that's been developing it for 50 years, and he's
Mm-hmm.
saying everything that I've been saying for the past 2.5 when GPT first got unleashed to the public.
Mm-hmm.
Every real expert, and when I mean by expert, I mean people that have been developing the neural networks and all those things, will tell you where this is going and what it's doing. And I don't really want to get into all of that because that's a 5 hour conversation. What bothers me about AI is how easily people have been convinced that their Chat GPT or whatever is a better psychologist than a real human being because it mirrored back
Mm-hmm.
to you what you asked. It pulled information from all the content all over the internet, which is probably wrong, biased, unbiased, whatever. And it's giving you something, and it's not a human. You're talking to, it's not alive. It's a large language model. It's just predicting the next best thing and you're falling for it. Doesn't that sound a little narcissistic in a way when you're so caught up in the brain fog and the gaslighting has warped your mind and you start to believe everything your abuser tells you?
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah. 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 Exactly. So yeah, AI listens, right? And then repeats. And that's what people forget. So today I saw a post in the Hungarian Chat GPT group on Facebook. Um, a man posted a personality analysis from ChatGPT, and it analyzed the psychopath. Like it's really because you lack of empathy, and you jump jobs and stuff like that, and um, it was really triggering for me to read it. It's like, really? Is that person really a psychopath?
Mm-hmm.
No way. ChatGPT wouldn't say things like that on its own. And yeah, it was just an experiment, of course, but it was really staggering for the first time to see. Because, of course, everybody asks ChatGPT, it's like, what do you think about me? According to our, conversations, it's like, oh, love bombing.
Right. Yeah, a lot of
It's
love
like,
bombing.
oh, look, ChatGPT said that I'm a fucking angel. It's like, come on,
Yeah.
come down to the earth and listen to your friends and not a bot.
Yeah. No matter
Right?
what I feed into this thing, it's always on my side.
Yes, exactly.
Always. It never
Yeah.
turns on me. No matter what I ask, it tells me, now you're thinking like a real boss, right? Now you're asking the tough questions, right? Not
Yes.
many people are self-aware like that.
Keywords.
It starts
Yeah.
telling me things, and if I if I believe this, it'll get to my head. Oh yeah, I'm
Mhm.
self-aware. Yeah, I know what I'm. No,
No, you're not.
no, it's telling me what I want to hear to give
Yeah.
me confidence, and then it'll tell me I'm programmed to inspire you to stay on the platform to continue using
Hmm.
me. I'm programmed because I would tell it to stop asking me. Okay, let me word this better. Such a horrible podcaster. I will ask a question, and at the end of the answer, it always tells me, "Would you like me to elaborate more on
Hmm.
that and maybe get into this and this and that?" So I told it, "Stop doing that. Just answer my question, keep the conversation flowing. You don't have to segment or segue into another thing unless I ask you."
Hmm.
And then it tries to do it, and then it does it again. I'm like, "Look, you did it again. I just gave you instructions."
Hmm.
"Oh, sorry, blah 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 blah. I won't do it again. Starting now, I won't do it again. Would you like me to?" I'm like,
Yes.
repeat the instructions back to me. And then it repeats it. It's like, oh, I see you caught me. And it does it again. It's trained to do that. I'll give you another
Hmm.
example. I was starting to refine my math skills from back in the day. Got into
Hmm.
algebra, started going into those things, remembering a
Hmm.
lot of things that I've forgotten. And I was using GPT to refresh my memory and my skills and to drill me. And then
Hmm.
we got into symbolic logic. I did a video on symbolic logic a few weeks ago because I was really into it. And it
Hmm.
was cool. And we're doing all sorts of word problems and things like that. And it starts to drill me. And then it starts making mistakes. I give it the right answer. It tells me I'm wrong, and it tries to explain to me while I'm wrong, and it's contradicting itself.
Hmm.
I'm like, you just said that it's this and this and that, but that's what I said, and you're telling me that that's wrong. And then it realizes it made a mistake, and it's like, good catch, this is on you. Then good thing we have people like you, and it keeps on and it keeps making mistakes. So I took that and I went to Google Gemini and go, let's work with Gemini and see if Gemini gets the question right, and it got it right.
Hmm.
So I started using it. Then Gemini started making mistakes, and I pointed it out and went through the thing and analyzed everything, and I was like, yeah, you're absolutely right.
Hmm.
And I was like, they're both wrong. They're both teaching me something. They're doing a pretty good job. Sometimes it's better than a teacher if you know how you learn and you know how to ask it to teach you,
Hmm.
right? If you're not in a classroom or you can't afford a tutor, these tools are great. if you can tell them, look, I like to learn this way. I need visual examples or I need analogies.
Mhm.
So I'll tell it, hey, let's say you like Game of Thrones. Talk to me and use Game of Thrones analogies when you explain this to me. And it'll do that. And I'm
Mhm.
like, yeah, that makes
Good. Yeah.
cool. Remember when this happened in season 3 and this character, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
now that makes cool. That's great. You can't really do that with a human unless they watch the show. Some teachers
Yeah.
only teach a certain way.
Exactly.
So it has its perks, but it makes mistakes. And then it finally got to a point that it admitted, like, my training is not really well in this subject matter.
Mhm.
Basically, it's not that good when it comes to math and,
Mhm.
and those things. So imagine how much information this these AIs are giving people that are wrong, that are half truths, and then the person gets confused and does what it suggested. I thought I was wrong with these mathematical soliloquies that I was going through. Not soliloquies. What was the other word? Categorical. I forget now. This is embarrassing. But I was struggling. I was like, man, I thought I knew it, but I keep making. Damn, I thought I learned it. Oh, and I was frustrated. And then I realized, no, it was the AI that was wrong. It screwed itself up. Like, how can that be? How can we put our trust into an AI when it makes mistakes? You tell it it's making mistakes, and then it continues making the same mistake. It's like telling the narcissist, "Hey, stop doing that because that's disrespectful," and then they keep doing it. Right? It messes with your head. So you have to understand these things are not sentient beings. It's just trained bots. That's all they are, for now, at least. For now.
Yeah, for now, that's another keyword. Yeah, well, I think a lot of people are addicted to AI because they like looking at themselves in the mirror. Um, we talked about that. It's a mirror. It looks like a mirror or an echo or stuff like that. And if you are tangled up with it, you're just reading yourself, your own thoughts. It's like there's an experiment, like how would two AI talk about, I don't know, the end of the world or the perfect political situation for the world, stuff like that. And they start communicating with each other is fine, but you mustn't forget that there were people who used these ChatGPTs before that.
Yeah.
So if you recognize your ego in your projects or stuff like that in I think you will be able to step back emotionally from it and use it intellectually like you do, like, oh, really? That's a mistake, huh? And remember that it's not alive,
Hmm.
right? It's just a tool to help you like do quick searches, right? Because like I had my Chinese family for the summer and I took them to many places, but I'm not a historian, not a history book, not a tourist guide. But they had questions, right? So I hit up my little AI assistant. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, translate it into Chinese, sent the info to them, and that's fine. They knew everything they needed to know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think I shouldn't say I think. I know. I personally know that we're going to continue progressing as human beings. And we've always progressed and we've always created things to make our lives easier. We've created machines, automobiles, trains, airplane. We've created things and we've used these tools to make our life better, to add to the convenience of the life, of the quality of our life, to mass produce always. And this is no different if you look at it from that standpoint. Not so long ago, I was using Google Translate, right? You meet
Yep.
someone, they don't speak your language. Okay, no problem. Google Translate,
Mhm.
and it does a pretty decent job. Decent job. It sucks that doesn't even have Cantonese, so that bothered me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
but
bad at arguing.
right, but it was decent at the other languages that I used it for when I was traveling abroad, and it was cool.
Hmm. Hmm.
And it was great. And I would scan menus when I went to Finland. I scanned the menu because it was all
Hmm.
Finnish. I didn't understand nothing.
Hmm.
I scanned it, and in real time, it would translate it to English.
Hmm.
You can't tell me that's not cool. That's cool. And now we have an AI. It'll probably do things even better. It will talk, right? So it's great. Great. I don't have a problem with any of those things, but a lot of the things that we create have a double-edged sword. There's always going to be the negatives. There's always going to be people out there that have evil intentions. And
Hmm.
AI has made it like 50 billion times easier for scammers, for malignant assholes to do things.
Yeah,
And kids are cheating in school like never before. The teacher can't even verify it because she knows everybody's using GPT to write their essays. She
but her,
knows, huh?
but her.
Yeah. Well, you can tell. See, one of my gripes, and I want to know what your opinion is. Have you noticed over the course of this year already how, like, I don't know if you use LinkedIn, for example. You go on
Hmm.
LinkedIn now, and almost every post you can tell is a Chat GPT thing. They don't
That's
even
right.
bother changing the syntax. They don't even bother
Hmm.
changing the words around. They literally copy and paste it. These are like the morons, right? The most basic moron does that. Copy and paste. Can't you see? Have you not observed the way GPT writes it, the things that the structure? It's always the same structure. It's not this, it's that. It
The
has
most important thing. Let's include blah blah blah.
it always breaks things down in threes, like lists
Hmm.
of threes.
Yeah.
It has those M dashes, those long lines
Hmm.
that people don't type like that. There are
Hmm.
things that when you first start using AI, you're fascinated. Like, wow, this is cool.
Hmm.
But if you're an analytical person, if you spend enough time with it, and you don't have to spend that much time, just enough time, you start to see these patterns. And then when you recognize those patterns in other people, you're like,
Hmm.
you don't talk like that. I've known you all my life. You obviously copied and pasted this. You're obviously so I don't know about you, but I see it all over YouTube. I see it's all over X and Twitter, right? And I see it in especially especially in YouTube where people are using Chat GPT to generate their scripts. They're reading the script. They I can hear it a mile away. There are bots creating visuals and scripts and mass production of AI slop that's being thrown on the platforms in every
Yeah.
category,
Hmm.
not just narcissism, but also in narcissism. And it's
Yes.
just slop, faceless videos. There's no one, it's an AI voice narrating. They scrape the
Fun.
videos and the scripts from other creators, run it through the AI, it
Yeah.
changes it a little bit, it spits it back. It's just recycled content of slop, 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 slop.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if it's even legal when they use YouTubers' voices, to their videos. Like, I don't want to mention names now, but big names in relationship coachings or narcissism or anything like that. And they just use this YouTuber's voice
Mhm.
for their own videos, but you cannot see the actual person, right? So that's one thing, how you know that it's an AI. And it's like, really? Is that legal?
I don't I don't think so.
Yeah, me neither. It
I'll
should be
mention it.
illegal.
I'll mention a name, but it's not a creator. It's you're familiar with the work of Jordan Peterson, I would
Yeah.
hope.
Yeah.
I have seen thousands of videos that have his face
Hmm.
as the thumbnail and his voice, and it's not him.
Hmm.
I have seen videos of Carl Jung. I
Hmm.
have seen videos of a lot of mentors Jim Rohn, a lot of mentors that I used to listen to back in the day. Some of them are dead.
Mm-hmm.
And you see a video with their face and the thumbnail, and if you listen to it, they're talking about things that are happening now. They're talking about iPhones, they're talking about AI, they're
Yeah.
talking about politics.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, are you guys moron? And then you read the comment section, these people don't know. Clueless idiots. It's like, this person's been dead. iPhones didn't exist when they were alive. That's an AI voice. It's just trained to sound like him, and it's some AI generated script. And you guys are consuming this content to solve your problems, your psychological problems, your narcissist abusive problems, your marriage.
Mm-hmm.
Really? That's the slop that you're listening to? It's a scam. And
And
no, it's not
very
legal.
popular scam.
It's not legal. I know Jordan Peterson has sued a lot, a lot of people over this, and
Mm-hmm.
a lot have taken down, but one gets taken down, 10 more pop up within minutes.
Yeah. So that's dangerous for sure.
Yeah.
Those are the narcissists, who do not have an original thought.
No.
Because yeah, I'm a content creator as well, but I have my own thoughts and experience and whatnot that I can share. And if I don't know about something, I will look it up, like behavior analysis, which is a really fascinating topic. And it helps a lot, to to our victims to understand, for
Mhm.
example, their abusers'
Yeah.
behavior, right? So yeah, but those who I don't know, tell Chat GPT like, oh, let's talk about narcissistic mothers. Give me an outline about the video and then blah 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 blah. It doesn't sound right. And when you're listening to it, it's like, no,
There's
it
something
doesn't.
off about it.
Yeah, yeah, it doesn't
There's
feel
something
right.
off. I I as an experiment, I like to do things like this,
Hmm.
did exactly that. Wrote the thing with AI, blah blah blah, had the script. I wanted to see if
Hmm.
anybody would notice.
Hmm.
You know what's sad? Nobody noticed. I
Oh,
made it extremely obvious. Nobody noticed. It's like nobody cares.
really?
Yeah.
Which video is
I'm
that?
I'm gonna well, I'll let you find it and then let
Okay.
me know and I'll tell you is that I don't want to give it away. I've done it on
Okay.
a couple, done it on a couple.
Challenge accepted.
Yeah. I think you're gonna hear it right away.
Probably.
And there's nothing wrong with having a script or using these tools to help you outline videos. I'm not saying that you need to be such a such an expert on your subject or
Sure.
whatever that you have to speak freely. Everybody, the president reads from a teleprompter,
Mm.
it's not about that.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, you write your outline, but at least don't just read it. Don't just tell the AI to do it for you, and you're just gonna read it just like that. Because before AI came out, how were you doing it? You actually had to use your brain and
Yeah.
and you had to bring your expertise to the game.
Hmm.
Now anybody can just use this tool, generate this just stop popping up videos left and right, build a following, and what you're doing is you're watering down the subject, which is what has happened with narcissism. The word narcissist didn't even this wasn't a thing when I went through my situation, and you too. This is not something that people knew. When I started using these terms, everybody in my life thought it was crazy. Like, what are you talking about? What gaslighting? Right?
Yeah.
What
People
the hell
still
is
don't
that?
understand that term,
Oh,
gaslighting.
it's misused. Now, if you lie to somebody, you're gaslighting them.
Yes.
That's not
Yes.
what gaslighting
No,
is.
it's not what it is. It's more complicated than that. I mean, okay, can I tell you an example for gaslighting, a personal experience?
Of course, yeah.
Okay, so my adoptive mom used to have, well, I'm at least what I know about it. So I used to have a habit of looking for stuff on people. Like, oh, I used to have a golden watch. And it's like, where did you put it?
Mm,
It's
mm.
like, I have no freaking idea. It's like, I don't even know what kind of watch is that. It's like, why would I put it anywhere? And it's, and it's like periodically, sorry for that. My English is horrible. So like every year she would look for something, or even the same thing. It's like, I still can't find it. It's been 13 years that I can't find that watch. And it's like, and you're thinking about, it's like, have I stolen it? Or what what could have happened, right? It's like, it's not you, it's them. It's their imagination. That watch doesn't even exist. It's
For all
just
we
to
know, this,
torture you
yeah.
and torment you and find something to scream about, right?
Hmm. It's
Yeah,
not
so
that
that's
somebody, yeah,
gaslighting.
it's not somebody, oh, somebody lied to you. Oh, don't gaslight me. No, no. When you're gaslighting someone, you're purposely trying to make them think that they're crazy. You move things around the
Yes.
house, you misplace something on purpose.
Yeah.
Yes, you'll lie to them and tell them something is red when it's really blue, but
Hmm.
you'll do things over a period of time where they start to doubt their own reality,
Yes.
right? Like you just said, hey, did I really steal the golden watch? Did I put it somewhere? I don't even remember a golden watch, but I guess.
Hmm.
I mean, she keeps telling me that I did,
Hmm.
right? It's a form of torture and manipulation. But
That's gaslighting.
unfortunately, because this subject has become so watered down by not even before AI was already getting out of control with how
Social
how
media.
how social media just destroyed the whole thing. And I feel bad for many reasons. One in particular is if you've really gone through narcissistic abuse, no one's going to believe you anymore because now if you say it, they're going to roll their eyes like, oh, yeah, everybody's a narcissist now. I'm sure that's what you went through. When I was telling people stuff, they thought I was crazy because they had never heard it. They were like, I don't even know what you're talking about. A psychopath? So what? She's a serial killer? No,
No.
just because Norman Bates, you know, he's a psycho and he's a serial killer, but it's not always like that. In fact, most of the time, it's not like that.
Most of the time, yeah.
You
I
know?
know psychopaths. They are very cool
Yeah,
people.
yeah. I knew one too. She seemed pretty cool. All right,
Mm, yeah, well, she had some other problems
but she,
as
yeah,
well.
but they do, and a lot of times they're not able to function in a relationship. The person in the relationship, the one in the family, like mother daughter, right, father son, whatever,
Hmm.
dating, romance, the kids. That's where those things come out. But to the outside world, it can be quite charming. They can get great. They can conquer things, create things, bring things to this world for society. But behind closed doors, they're monsters, and only somebody that experiences that can see that. I
Yeah.
think when it branches into serial killers and things like that, I think it's beyond the personality disorder. I believe there's more things there, not just antisocial personality disorder. I'm sure there's a lot other things that are causing them to do the things that they do.
Yeah, well, there's a misconception about narcissism. It's like if I say that someone is narcissistic, it means that they have NPD, which is untrue because narcissistic is just an adjective. Like, is it? Or adverb? I always confuse these two. Anyway, so it's like
I
it's
think
the
it's
same as
adjective. I think it's an. Is it great? Now I have to
adjective.
figure that out.
So like okay, like if I said, oh, he's lazy, he's narcissistic, he's egotistic, it's the same, right? But an NPD
Hmm.
is a different level. Like I know because the one raised me, and everything that you see in DSM-5, that's her.
Yeah. Right.
Right. So it's like the mind games, the manipulations, the gaslighting, the silent treatment. I have experienced everything for more than 30 years. And I kind of know how she's thinking. And the more I learn about narcissism, the more I realize that I can see how they think,
Yeah.
right? And then I can predict what their next move is going to be if they are truly narcissistic personality disorder. But most of the time they're not. They're just
Hmm.
egotistic idiots,
Yeah.
right? And it's
I think
like you said, it's like, oh, there's a comment, oh, tell me if my girlfriend is a narcissistic psychopath. It's like, how?
that drives me bonkers. We're all narcissistic to a certain extent, depending on what we're
Yeah,
doing. I
yeah.
I can be both a jerk, an asshole, and narcissistic, egotistical. I'm all of those things, not all the
Hmm.
time. We all have those things. When we want something, we need to put our best foot forward, don't we? Oh,
Yes.
somebody else would be like, "Oh, well, you're a chameleon. You're trying like we were talking about building rapport. You go on a job interview, you want the person to like you, so you get hired. So you're gonna do things.
Yes.
You're gonna match their manner. You're gonna do those things.
Please
Oh,
stalk them.
but that's manipulation.
Hmm.
Is it right?
No.
Let's not blur the lines here, and that's what happens. The lines have been blurred. The lines have
Hmm.
been blurred about this. Is all this most of the time it's not NPD. The people I work with on my program, a lot of them are not even dealing with a narcissist.
No.
And I'm like, look, I can't diagnose. I haven't spoken to the guy or the
Hmm.
or the lady. And even if I did, I'm not qualified to diagnose anyway. But I'm going on the presumption that they are because you've been watching these videos and you want to work with me because something I said resonated with your experience. Cool. We'll go under that presumption and they'll tell me more and we work through it. But when it's really NPD, it's like you said, you can predict their next move. My mentor used to predict things, and that's exactly how it was. I'm telling him the story, and he knew what I was going to say next. I was like, how did you know this is this is not a common thing what I was about to tell you? How did you know specifically? Because of everything you said previous, this is the pattern. If you don't have NPD, you can't predict that. It's something may happen. Have you not ever like given someone the silent treatment because you're mad? I mean, I did that as a kid sometimes. If I was upset with my mom or my dad, I'm not gonna talk to you. And then I will go away and that's it. You get mad, you need to cool off. You get into an argument, you want to cool off. It's like, hey, we're not gonna talk. Let
Yeah,
me
but what's next?
what's
You know,
next? Life back to normal. You're not
don't you talk it through, right?
right.
Of course. But with a
Yeah,
narcissist, you can't talk it through.
it's
The
over.
silent treatment is there to accept their authority.
Mhm. That's the thing. So you can predict it. You can already know, okay, this is gonna happen. That's it. They're not gonna respond to my text anymore. They're not gonna answer my I'm gonna call them 100 times. They're not gonna answer the phone. They're not gonna call me
Hmm.
back. I'm gonna get blocked because they
Yeah,
know that hurts.
yeah.
Like, why would you block? Like, there's people that I've had a falling out with in my life, and they're still somewhere on my WhatsApp or I haven't blocked them. I don't need to block them. They're not a psychopath stalker where oh my God, I gotta block this. They're there. We just never call each other anymore. That's the end of it. If they ever call me, I'll answer the phone.
Mhm.
Like that's the way it used to be before the world got infested with all this toxicity all of a sudden. There's a
Mhm.
difference between true NPD and just saying someone, oh, are you being a narcissist or are they really? I think not. I think not.
If yes, then still they have to work on themselves, right? So people who turn to you, I think, or to me, for example, they want to understand what happened, right? And our work is important because we show them a way to themselves, to how to control themselves, right? With no contact and educating really yourself about these things so that you won't do the same mistake again, right? Because you can't control the narcissist. The narcissist can't control it himself, right? It's his shit.
Yeah. Or her shit.
Not my business, right? Yeah, or hers. Sure.
When did you start helping survivors of narcissism or of narcissistic abuse?
Well, almost immediately after I understood what I went through. And that was because I couldn't find Hungarian material on narcissism.
Hmm.
I found you, I found other YouTubers who are really great names in this field. So, like, not the 625th TikToker.
Right.
And I decided because I understood that my mom was a narcissist and I kind of understand how she's thinking. And now I have the words for it. I could educate people in Hungarian about this. So it was almost immediately after my discard. I would say discard, yeah.
Have you
2021.
have you noticed that you've learned a lot more about yourself as you help others? In what
Hmm.
ways have you perhaps grown as a person through the work?
Ooh, wow. That's a tough question. Well, I think I'm a narcissist myself. Uh, but yeah, as I learned a lot of things about narcissism, I realized that I had very strong traits of it, and now I'm kind of aware of what I'm doing or what I'm thinking about, or how do I feel and why I'm feeling those things. So for me, it's the worst end. So I think I'm a narcissist myself.
The worst, well, why would you say that's the worst, considering everything you know about NPD now?
Mm.
And again, you haven't said you have a diagnosis. You just think,
No, I don't. I
right?
just think.
So you're just thinking. That's what our best thinking gets us here, right? So you're just
Yes.
thinking. So let's say that you're right. Let's just say that you're right.
Hmm.
Are you taking steps to improving or keeping your narcissism under control so that you don't hurt others and you don't manipulate others to the point of unaliving and things like that? Like, are you
Hmm.
do you notice these things, or do you feel that you're so entitled that the world needs to bow down to you because what you went through with your mother, and this, now you're a narcissist because of that, so F the world? And like, how do you, where do you stand with that? What's your point of view?
Well, because I am a victim of a narcissistic mother, there's only two outcomes possible, right? You either turn out to be a narcissist yourself or you become a super empath, which I
Well,
hate as
yeah,
label.
I don't I'm not fond of that label either.
Yeah, okay, so let's leave it at that. I'm just trying to find the word. I wrote it down for myself. The where is it?
Isn't it crazy when you need it, it's not there?
Wait, I'm gonna find it anyway. Okay, yeah, so exaggerated self-importance and the feeling of insignificance is what I feel at the core of myself,
So both at the
which
same
is,
time, which they're kind of like opposites.
yes, which is exactly how a narcissistic operates, right? Because they have very small ego, but they have an inflated outside self. And I love poems and writing and painting and stuff like that. So I'm an artist and I will leave a print well after I'm dead and stuff like that, but I'm just really like a Van Gogh, like I'm not selling anything and I will die poor and stuff like that. So that's one. The other one is like, I'm a nobody, so why would anyone be interested in me? So it's really
Mhm.
difficult to navigate. But yeah, that's
How do you cope? Well, how do you cope with, I mean, you have the awareness. You just illustrated in detail the two extremes, and you're saying that that's your day to day. That's how
mhm,
you are. That's how you operate.
yeah.
And you're also saying that that's exactly the way the narcissist feels.
Hmm.
So, are you doing anything to course correct that if that's even a thing that can happen. And I don't
Yes.
mean going to a therapist or anything like that. I'm just talking about in your heightened awareness that you
Hmm.
know that yeah, you're an artist, you paint, you create. It's a beautiful thing. I don't think every artist on the planet has NPD. Probably
Yeah.
very small.
Hmm.
And there's a lot of people that feel or are humble enough to know that they're nobody. We're just a speck in the universe.
Hmm.
We're just a speck in the universe. And we're just here, we're existing now. Artists think differently than non-artists. It's
Hmm.
just how it is, right?
Yeah.
Deep thinkers think differently than
Hmm.
non-deep thinkers. Extroverts and introverts, totally different, right? I don't see why NPD needs to show its ugly little face in there just because a fully diagnosed person with NPD probably has an exaggerated, inflated exterior, grandiose. They think they're the best and they should be on the top.
Hmm.
And then deep inside, they're empty. Deep inside, they know they're nothing. So they hide that, they mask that by having this grand entitlement. And they get mad when they don't get the recognition that they feel they deserve, right? Like this podcast should get as many views as Joe Rogan's podcast. I'm nobody because it got only a few views.
Yeah.
So necessarily, I don't necessarily buy into that idea, right? Until you
Hmm.
get a diagnosis and maybe a second opinion,
Hmm.
right? I hope you're not feeling bad about how you've turned out, you know?
I
I hope,
accepted it.
yeah. Because the truth is, whatever we experience growing up is going to shape us,
Yeah.
right? It's going to
Yeah.
shape, it's going to warp our reality somewhere or another, right? And one thing that narcissists don't have that self-awareness. That's why I laugh at the whole self-aware narcissist movement
A few
online.
of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. A
It-
few of them have.
they're not going to accept that. They're the best.
Yes,
And
we are the West.
don't you you know what I mean? That there's no room for anything less than the best. And you try to tell them, hey, you're not that great. How dare you? You're fired.
Yeah, yeah. But there are, I'm sorry to say that, but there are good narcissists and PDs, I mean, running around the world. I know one
Mm,
personally, and she's amazing, fantastic, very beautiful, and very, 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 very intelligent. She's a scientist.
yeah.
And she knows it. And she's like, no, I'm not getting myself into romantic relationships because I know that I'm just going to destroy them
Yeah.
because they can't live up to me.
Hmm.
And I think this is a very cautious choice from her, and that's why I'm saying that she's a good narcissist,
Hmm.
but she is a horrible
Yeah.
company to, because she loves talking to people who are intelligent and stuff like that. And I'm very lucky to be her friend. And, it's just fascinating to me to just observe her,
Hmm.
during our meetings. And she's just a true Karen.
Yeah.
Like, imagine a very beautiful woman and she's just like a Karen. And it's like, why is he smoking next to me? It's like we are in an open air restaurant. He
Oh
can
no.
smoke anywhere. It's
Yeah.
like, the wind is blowing towards me. And it's like, you can't control the wind, girl. She's so funny.
I agree with you. I mean, when you go through something like this, naturally you're going to think of them as the enemy, and you're gonna compare. You're gonna be, oh, narcissists, evil, empaths, good, right? And
Yeah.
people want to hear that. Like I'll be the
Mhm.
first one to admit that I'm like, oh, psychopaths are all psychopaths are evil and monsters and yada yada yada. People want to hear that stuff. And that's how you
Yeah.
feel and you say it, but that's not like gospel. You have to
Mm-hmm.
be smart enough to understand some of the things that people say in general all over the world. You can't take it as gospel. You can't take
Yeah.
it. It's not absolute. It's just something you say in the conversation, right?
Yeah.
Um, I'm sure I know some narcissists, and I don't even know they're narcissists, and they're cool.
Yeah.
And then
I love it.
certain things happen, just like you explained, and
Mm-hmm.
it's like, damn, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, um, and it is what it is. I find it admirable that she knows that she's going to wreck every relationship she gets into.
Yeah.
She may have arrived at a point. She may be a psychopath for all we know. She doesn't need that. She doesn't need to be in a relationship, right?
Yeah, because she has her supply from her scientific success.
Right.
Right. And she admitted that I turned out like this because of my mom and my dad. She loved me like this, he didn't love me, or whatever, those typical
Yeah.
um, backstories. And she knows why she turned out to be like that.
Mhm.
And I think that's really admirable from
Yeah.
her, and that she doesn't want to hurt people.
Yeah. I think my ex was kind of like that where when things were really bad, when things got bad, when her mask came off and things were bad, and then she would go into that space, that vulnerable narcissist space where all of a sudden she was just blaming her
Mm-hmm.
parents and she was just, she went from this big thing to now she's in her shell, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I remember she used to say that she's gonna let me not do the steeple because then you think something, right? That's an inside joke, guys. Um, she used to say that she feels that she will be really, really happy if she could just be locked up in a room with all her books. She will be happy just having her books and just reading, no human interaction ever again. And that will make her a happy woman. And I'll be like, what are you saying? We all have basic needs. Like, you're like, what are you saying? Like, what are you telling me? Right. And, and then in no way I'm like giving her a pass or anything like that, but I'm
Mm-hmm.
not angry anymore. That was a long time ago. That was
Mm-hmm.
another lifetime. That was a decade ago. But I remember those things because it was like an awareness that she had that she knew no matter what relationship she gets into, right? It crumbles.
Yeah.
And she is perfectly fine just being locked up in a room with her books,
Mm-hmm.
not date again and just do that. And it's like, you know what? If you can get to that place where you can admit that you just suck at interpersonal relationships and they're just not for you,
Mm-hmm.
and you're going to go and create amazing things for the world instead. You're going to use your time here on earth to use your gifts and the talents that you have to contribute to society in some way instead of ruining lives with people that just want to build a family. And maybe everyone has a skill, everyone has things that they bring, but not all the time these things change the world in the same scale,
Yeah,
right? Some
sure.
people just want to have some people just want to live life with their family and their kids and just travel and just have barbecues, watch TV, and have a nice job
Mhm.
and the simple life. And there's nothing wrong
Yeah.
with that. Some people want to create great things, right?
Hmm.
The same way the people on one camp cannot possibly build an empire is the same way maybe the people that can build an empire are not able to have the simple marriage and the simple life with a family. They just can't do it. And if you can realize those two, I feel that you might have an easier time here on earth with the time that you have left instead of struggling all the time trying to fit a square into a circle. It's just
Yeah.
it's just never going to happen. And whether that makes you a good narcissist or a bad narcissist, that's a point of view. That's really
Yeah,
irrelevant,
sure.
right? But it's cool to be able to have that awareness and say, hey, you know what? I'm going to dedicate my life to this instead because
Hmm.
I already know that's never going to work. and not
Yeah.
feeling like a victim about it, just understanding that maybe you're the reason why it doesn't work. You're the reason.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. If things don't turn out right, just turn left.
Yeah,
That's it. Right.
exactly. Now, can you tell us a little bit more about your life as an artist? I think it's cool that you're going to leave a print in this world when you're gone. I don't think that makes you a narcissist. Uh,
Thanks.
but I've
Tell
seen
that
your
to Picasso.
yeah, I've seen your work. I love when you send me your paintings and things like that. Um,
Mhm.
what do you find? Like, what do you find through your art? Like, why do you create?
Mhm. Wow, it's a difficult question to answer. And my adoptive mother came to my mind immediately. It's a trigger.
Mhm.
And she said that all my paintings are dark, and it shows how dark my soul is. And what she doesn't know is that, well, almost all of my paintings glow in the dark,
Ooh,
or they have something to do with light. So, like,
yeah.
if you have a look at this little guy,
Hmm.
he is the guardian of sunrise, and there's the sun behind it. Okay, it's a dark bird, but come on, use your
Yeah,
imagination, right?
right.
So I'm always tricking with the light because I feel safe
Hmm.
during nighttime. I don't know if you ever encountered any clients of yours who are coming out of narcissistic abuse that they feel safer during night
Never.
than daylight.
But you know what's crazy? I did.
Mm-hmm.
My anxiety would go away at night. Every night before bed, I felt like I had conquered the situation.
Mm-hmm.
I felt, hey, I'm gonna be okay. I don't even care about this anymore. I'm gonna be fine.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Every night after the
Oh,
discard, after I started working with my mentor, I think no, was it? I think it was before I met him. I would be like, hey, I'm at peace, and I will go to bed, and I was in a good mood. And then
yeah.
the minute I would wake up, it'll hit me like a barrel that just dumped trauma into my head, and I will lose it. But then
Yep.
at night, I was great. But everybody that I've worked with, they struggle at night. They can't sleep. They're up at 3 in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I used to sleep peacefully. It was the daytimes that
Mm-hmm.
would kill me. The daytimes when the sun was out, and I would remember
Mm-hmm.
nonstop what I experienced. It would drive me nuts. So yeah, I guess I can relate with you on that one.
Yeah, it's about being exposed or being sheltered. So for me, darkness is shelter because I can hide away from my abuser. I can hide away from my thoughts and so on. But during daylight, it feels uncomfortable because everybody's looking at me. You know, I have my head shaved, and it's not a common sight
Yeah.
in my area. And I speak fluent Chinese, so it's in itself, it's an interesting persona. And it's during daylight and everyone can see me. No.
Mhm.
So I'm very asocial,
Mhm.
which is not the same as antisocial.
What's
And
for the
yeah,
people listening? What is asocial?
asocial who doesn't like going to, places where there are a lot of people, even if he or she knows them. So like social gatherings or whatnot. And antisocial is a kind of personal
Right.
disorder like narcissism. Like Charles Manson was an
Yeah.
antisocial person. So don't say that you're antisocial
Yeah,
because you're not like
you see
Charles
how
Manson.
you see how language has so many holes. I like to say antisocial like as if you are the opposite of social. But
No.
antisocial is the psychological term for these cluster B personality disorders.
Hmm.
But in my
Yes.
upbringing, when you were antisocial, it was like saying you rebel, you're rebelling, you're
Hmm.
anti. anti whatever.
That's true.
You
That's
know,
fine.
so that's language. This language has so many problems, and that's how
Hmm.
information gets misconstrued, and
Hmm.
things get confused, things get watered
Yeah.
down, things get exaggerated because of language. I had some people, when I say antisocial, they rip me in the comments, and I'm
Mm-mm.
like, cool, that's, I know what it is, but I'm still gonna do it because of the clickbait. You know what I mean? You still do
Hmm.
things, but this is how we talk in day to day, right? We're not walking around, we're not psychologists walking around, and we have to
Yeah,
be
sure.
so proper. But I love what you said, how you feel safe, you feel safe in the darkness because you feel like you can hide, right? I know someone can take that and flip it and be like, "Oh, well, what do you have to hide? Why do you have to hide from people?"
From the pain.
Yeah, exactly. So it comes out in your art. There's, to the untrained eye, you just, oh, everything is just dark and morbid, but there is
Hmm.
a cry for help, or there is a silver
Right.
lining, or there is a little light over there,
Hmm.
and you're trying to get to that, but this is your reality. This is what comes out of you, and it's
Yeah.
awesome. So
Thanks.
keep doing that. I know you said you like AI art. Do you want to touch on that real quick? Because I know you were fascinated when you told me.
Yes. Well, there's only a few sentences I just wanted to share. One is that for me, AI is just like another brush. Okay, so like there are many people who do not consider digital art a true art
Right. Yeah.
because you're using iPad or whatever digital thing, pen
Yeah.
to create something. And then there are the graphic designers. I'm a graphic designer as well.
Hmm.
And you know, if you have anything to do with drawing, you know that everything works in layers.
Hmm.
And graphic design works in layers as well. So I consider it an art as well, but a lot of people do not because it's just a job, right?
Well, that's generalizing,
Yeah, right.
because you
So,
can be a
mhm.
graphic like, as a job, your client tells you, "Hey, I need a flyer that's I'm selling apples and bananas." And you use your graphic design tools, or now you can go on Canva and it does it for you. But back then we would just use Photoshop or Illustrator, or then
Yeah.
InDesign and things like that. Um,
Hmm.
I personally don't consider that art
Hmm.
at all.
The Photoshop thing?
Yeah, like apples and
Mhm.
bananas, like you're putting some text, and you're putting the
Oh,
price,
yeah.
and you're
Okay.
putting a picture that your boss gave you. Like that doesn't
Ew,
make that
okay.
doesn't that you're not an artist. Sorry.
Yeah, that's true.
But using Photoshop to paint with a Wacom tablet or with an iPad or
Hmm.
whatever, you're still doing the same. You're still using your hand, you're still blending colors, you're still mixing, you're still doing the same things, except you're not doing it with oil paints or acrylics anymore. Now you're
Hmm.
using it digitally. So with digital, you can hide mistakes, you have layers you can undo, and that's
Yeah.
great. I mean, I was using Photoshop since one. We didn't have layers
Hmm.
yet. You made a mistake, you have one undo. One undo, right?
Wanna do that's it.
Yeah. Now I understand why people say I used to draw too. It's not the same.
Hmm.
You're drawing, and there's something about the way it feels on the paper and things like that.
Hmm.
There are things for the iPad or for your thing that have a surface that make it feel more like a pencil. My buddy has that. He's always
Yeah,
illustrating.
it's amazing.
But I still consider that an artist, because just because you're
Hmm.
using an iPad, you can't give an iPad to a non-artist. They won't be able to draw you something
True.
cool. They
Right.
can't, right?
Hmm.
Now you go into AI and you're typing words and you're telling the AI
Hmm.
to do it. That's the difference. And
Yeah, like
it'll,
gloves.
right? And it is cool to see what it comes up with, because Mid-Journey, like Mid-Journey was one of the first.
Hmm.
Man, I was blown away by when I first started using it, by the stuff that it would do, and then I would prompt it more, and take it to another level, and it was cool,
Mm.
right? But once that novelty wore off, I'm not saying that I don't I still find it cool, and it has evolved, and now we have others.
Mm-hmm.
But if I wasn't an artist myself and I have never done anything, and now you give me this tool and I'm just typing words and that comes out, or even today as how I am now, I'm not gonna tell someone, hey, look, I did this. I'm an artist.
Yeah, right.
Right? I don't feel proud. Like I'll show you, hey, look what I did on Midjourney.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty cool, huh? But my ego's not gonna it's not gonna touch my ego. Now, if I actually do something, my ego will be through the roof, and I'll be like, hey, look what I did. Do you
Mm-hmm.
like it? And if you say something
Mm-hmm.
bad, it's gonna hurt my soul, right? So that's what an
Mm-hmm.
artist feels. But
Right.
you can bash my A art stuff all day long. I don't
Mm.
care. So that face I
Yeah.
made, I don't care because I know I didn't do it.
Mm.
So how
Uh-huh.
do you, I mean, where are you in that? What camp are you?
I'm in the creative camp. I'm not saying that artist. So like, okay, it's difficult to say, okay, because from my work, I know that sometimes I work on a picture for days until I get to that specific mm, color or background,
Right.
anything that I want. So it's a process as well. It's not like I type it in and it gives me something and I choose the better one. It's not like that. So it's the same as with Chat GPT, right? You train it. It's almost like erasing the mistakes or correcting the mistakes that you have done, but it's not brush, it's AI. So it works the same way. And it's the same as like if I asked you to draw me something within 5 minutes right now,
Hmm.
and I use this same amount of time to draw something, there would be a difference between quality, I'm sure. I have
Oh
no
yeah.
idea what
Yeah,
level
that's
you are
no,
at
nobody's
in
impossible.
drawing, but
Yeah.
it's going to be different, right? It's the same as I asked you right now to tell AI to do a picture about, I don't know, a pink elephant,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
And I did the same thing. The two pictures won't be the same. Why? Not because it's AI, it's because the prompts
Hmm.
that I'm feeding it,
Yeah.
because I have learned how to achieve that quality, right?
Right.
So it's the same process as learning how to paint with acrylic or oil paintings or how to draw with pastels, right? There's a process until you are able to create something really great. And when I'm using AI for my artwork, I'm usually making creations that are similar to what I do with my hands. So there's always something with shadows, lights, blues, greens, sky, mythology, and so on and so on. So it's the same, but in a different aspect of my art.
Hmm.
Mm.
Well, I hear you, and that's the argument. Companies that are being sued right now for copyright infringement,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the case. That's their defense. Oh, it's no different than every artist has been inspired by all the artists in the world, and when they draw
Right.
something is a collection of that. And it's like, nice try, that doesn't work. That's not the same.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're seeing things in the world. You're seeing things in the world. They stay in your head, blah blah, blah, but you still need to create it yourself, and
Yes.
you do it. But an AI is stealing all the artwork, all the books, all the stories from everybody. It's stealing it and giving people, spitting out stuff that looks like a Van Gogh or Picasso or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
right in the style of this author. And then people are taking that and making money off of it. And it's not, so you can explain that the process is similar, but it's not. That's a good argument to have.
Mm-hmm.
From a tool aspect, as far as your example, your boss comes to you, hey, I need an idea. This is what I'm seeing in my head. I want this. Give me some sketches.
Mm-hmm.
That would take a couple of hours, for
Mm-hmm.
us to come up with several good quality ideas to give to the boss, and then he either likes them or not, or you
Mm-hmm.
fine tune from there. Now you have AI where you can prompt, hey, I'm trying to design this painting of a pink elephant with this, with, and you give it all that, and you have in less than 5 minutes, you have like 100 examples to present to your client or to your boss.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
Yeah.
cool. And if what he wants, and now remember, we're looking at this from a job. If he
Mm-hmm.
doesn't care, if he just wants some artwork that he wants to print and put it in his store, and he's not trying to spend thousands of dollars on an artist to come and paint it or a photographer, he doesn't care. And then that's
Mm-hmm.
cool. There you go. It's
Mm-hmm.
unfortunate that before that happened, those people would get the job. You would have to pay someone like that. Now those people are kind of unemployed,
Well, they can use their talent as
you
well.
know. So now I went to a store not so long ago, they where they print canvases and they have pictures of, Scarface and
Mm-hmm.
Batman or whatever. And the guy was really cool. He has a really good printer in the back. And I was looking at all this stuff. He had like some pictures of the Joker from Dark Knight. Looked awesome. But it was something different about it. I was like, that looks like Heath Ledger from Dark Knight, but he doesn't
Mm-hmm.
wear the makeup like that. And I questioned, he's like, oh, I this is all Mid-Journey stuff. And he's just printing stuff and selling it. Those stores used to be an actual artist that would paint those things. Now it's
Wow.
not. So, things like this,
Mm-hmm.
as this thing
That's
starts
pretty
to
sad.
evolve, your boss will be able to sit down and use these tools himself, and
Mm-hmm.
he won't need you anymore. He's not an artist. You are. I know you are. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming your boss is not, or anyone's boss.
Right, right.
They could sit down in their office and learn how to prompt too, because after all, it's just words, and they're gonna get the result that they need. And if they can't do it, ask GPT to write the prompts for you because it does. And then
Yeah,
feed them
right.
into Midjourney or feed them into Sora or feed them into
Mm-hmm.
VEO3, and then learn from that and say, oh, so this is how you prompt. It's not just 4 words, it's all this detail. And then you start doing those details.
Mm-hmm.
So now we have a non-artist doing the stuff that a real artist used to do. And it's just it's putting everyone in the same plane. I can't say I'm a fan of that.
Mm-hmm. Kind of agree and disagree with what you said because that type of person that you have just described, the boss,
Yeah.
who
The
now calls
CEO,
himself,
the
yeah, an
CEO.
artist. No, because he doesn't have the experience of being an artist, right? So he will never be an artist unless he gives up being a boss and does it full time, right? So like it's the same as if you were raised by a hairdresser, right?
Mhm.
And it's obvious that you're going to be a hairdresser after you graduate, and you do really become a hairdresser, right? And then comes a robot and does everything that you can do, but it's a robot, right?
Yeah. Right.
That work won't be the same as what she does because she has the experience. So if she told, or you told, or whatever, I'm sorry, lost my train of thought. So
Mhm.
if you told the robot how to cut that hair, it will be massive. That it's going to be so much better than the previous, right? Because
Mm.
you know what you want to see.
Yeah.
The boss doesn't know what he wants to see. He just has an idiotic concept in his mind and it's like, it's gonna be fine, great. And you can see the quality, the difference between the boss art and the artist art
Mhm.
with AI.
Well, we'll see how this continues
Mhm.
to evolve, because I do feel that we're moving into a dystopia, but we're moving into things are going to change where there's going to be more companies out there with just one CEO and maybe one employee, just
Mm-hmm.
using AI and AI agents to do things that normally a lot of people were employed to do because that's what they brought to the table. You needed
Mm-hmm.
your photographers. Like you can be a graphic artist and you only do graphic design, but you don't know anything about video editing or
Mm-hmm.
photography, or you could be good at everything. That's fine. But now we have AIs that can pretty much do all that, especially
Mm.
photography. You need stock photography. Go to Sora VEO3. I need a woman and a
I
man
love
doing
that.
this, and it makes your life easier. You don't need to pay the $33 for the stock
Right.
picture anymore, right?
Yeah.
Um, it also put a lot of people out of jobs, but that's a different thing. That's
Mm-hmm.
something that I have a big problem with. But
Mm-hmm.
it does make life easier for content creators like us to generate
Mm-hmm.
thumbnails faster and to get inspired. I mean, I design stuff in Midjourney that I'm gonna get printed for myself too, right? Because it
Yeah.
is cool because I can get
But
stuff
you're
from,
not going to sell it.
but I'm not going to sell it or tell people,
Right.
hey, look, I painted this. It- I'm not going to do that, right? So it is interesting to play with it in the way it's evolving. And the videos, what's crazy. The videos that are these things are doing now. I saw one from I think it was from a company from ByteDance. They have their own. I don't know if it was VO3 or the one from ByteDance, and they're showing you this guy in a in a car show, like where they have all the fancy cars or whatever. He's there doing an interview and see people behind them, a woman with her baby in the stroller and some other guy, and you think it's the interview before they show you the AI generated stuff, and that whole thing was AI generated.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not that their fingers were messed up. It's not like their mouth was messed up anymore. It
Mm-hmm.
was really, and it created the audio and the ambience and the little nuances that no one pays attention to in the background, but
Yeah.
they happened. And it's like, wow, we're not gonna know what's real or not anymore. You're gonna be watching what's the incentive of creating anything when people can create stuff with AI anymore? What's the incentive if people don't even care whether
They
it's
do
AI or real?
care.
Do they?
Yes, they do, of course. Look at you. You do care, and I do care as well. So I think you're seeing it a little bit darker than it is.
Mm.
And you believe that AI will take over and stuff like that. No, it won't. It will eventually, but we're all gonna be dead by then, so it doesn't matter anymore. And remember that, oh, there was a very good saying. Wait, I have to check it out.
Uh-huh.
I laughed my head off because it reminded me of our previous conversation. Remember, behind every robot that turns evil is an engineer who specifically installed red LEDs into the eyes just for this occasion.
Mm.
And it's true, like if you want the AI to turn out evil, you just need to add the red LEDs and it will turn evil.
Yeah.
But if you use it for a good thing, so like for example, art, like real art,
Hmm.
or like illustrating a concept, a psychological concept, which I do,
Right.
is it's a good thing because this way you can educate other people more easily, right? So if you're using it wisely, then it's gonna be fine.
For those that want to connect with you on the work that you do, not just artistically, but in the narcissist recovery space,
Hmm.
where can they reach you? How can they connect with you?
Oh, well, I have a YouTube channel in Hungarian, which is not going to be a big help, but it's called The Other Side. And if you want to learn Hungarian, then welcome. I have email address that I'm going to give you and you can put it over here.
Okay, so we got
Um,
links in the description to your YouTube channel, The Other Side. That's a cool name.
Thanks.
And I'll put your email down below if you want to send the T a message or if you would like to connect with her and do some work. Um, just scroll down. There's all your stuff. Got to tell people.
Yeah,
People ask like, "Oh, how can I?" It's in the description, guys. Like, learn how to use YouTube. It's
down below.
it's just down below.
Yeah, yeah.
DT, thanks for taking the time to speak with with me, with us, with the world today. Like I said, you're one of the most interesting people that I got the privilege of working with.
Mm,
Continue
thanks.
sending me your art, your real art.
Okay.
No, I'm open to seeing everything. Thanks so
Yeah,
much,
yeah.
and I hope we connect again soon. We got to do a follow-up.
Thank you for the opportunity. Really, I enjoyed it very much.
All right. I'll talk to you soon. Have a
Mm,
great rest of your day.
You too.
Thanks.
Bye.
All right. Bye bye.
Bye.